I don't know about you, but I grew up watching the Jetsons. There was this robot named Rosie. Aluminum body, battery powered, humming cheerfully while she handled everything around the house. Jane Jetson's biggest concern was finding time for the beauty salon or catching up on gossip because housework was simply exhausting. Then, like a gift from the heavens, Rosie. She cooked, she cleaned, she played catch with Elroy. A machine with a heart of gold. And she found a place in ours, too. Back then, I thought there were three kinds of close relationships: family, friends, and Rosie. We'd watch that show and think, wouldn't it be something if this were real? Well, it's almost real now. Some of those kids who grew up watching the same cartoons decided to actually build it. A humanoid robot called NEO was recently unveiled and put up for pre-order. Put down $200 today, and by 2026, you can own one for a total of $20,000. Or subscribe for $500 a month. NEO is designed to do exactly what Rosie did: fold laundry, unload the dishwasher, answer the door for guests. It can even offer them a spritz of cologne, if you teach it to. Yes, the biggest trend of recent years, artificial intelligence, is rapidly getting a real body. Humanoid robots walking among us could be less than a year away. But is that really true? Let's first look at the dream, the vision. Then let's figure out what's actually going on. NEO is being marketed as the first large-scale commercial humanoid sold directly for home use. Announced just 2 weeks after Figure, another robotics company revealed a new version of its own robot. What sets NEO apart from competitors like Figure or Tesla's Optimus is its design philosophy centered on safety and softness. The company calls it biomimetic, meaning it mimics the human body. But don't all humanoids do that? Not quite like this. They've developed something called tendon drive technology. It works like the tendons in our muscles, using the world's highest torque density motors running through a tendon-based transmission system. The result is smooth, fluid movement. It looks less like a metal machine and more like an organic being. The regular human clothes they dress it in certainly help that impression too. NEO weighs just 30 kilograms, about as much as a child. Why does that matter? Because if it falls or tips over, it won't crush you like a heavy machine would. Its entire body is covered in 3D printed polymer lattices, giving it a soft exterior. Its hands have 22 degrees of freedom, designed to grip and handle objects with something approaching human dexterity. Battery life is 4 hours, and it can charge itself. So let's say you spend the $20,000 and it shows up at your door next year. What happens? First, you get acquainted. Then it takes on 3 core roles. First, housework. You set it up through a smartphone app, clean the room each morning, scrub the bathroom, water the plants every Tuesday, feed the dog daily. While you're off cruising with the top down, it's handling things back home. You can check in from wherever you are. Oh look, it's loading the washing machine. Now it's emptying the dishwasher. Flawless movements, right? Well, there's a small catch. We'll get to that. Second, companionship. Say there's an elderly person at home. Sweetie, I can't read this. What does it say? NEO uses its 2 wide-angle cameras to read text out loud, just like we do with our phones today. It might even cheekily point out that your glasses are already on your head. It's essentially a physical version of ChatGPT, which makes sense, since OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is one of its investors. This is actually where I think NEO currently performs best. Because it shares your physical space, it can observe, hear, and remember things about your home. It can look inside the fridge and suggest what you could make for dinner. Third, on-demand autonomous tasks. The company is developing an AI model called Redwood for this. You control the robot entirely through voice commands. No visual interface. Someone's at the door and I'm busy. Go answer it. Or clear the empties, and it breaks that command into steps. Walk over, pick up the cup, turn, head to the kitchen. It parses your sentence and acts on it. So can 1X, this startup, actually deliver on its promises and ship these robots by 2026? Maybe. But as I said, there's a small catch, not a financial one. Let's pull back the curtain. What can NEO actually do today? The Wall Street Journal ran an exclusive first test. And the results are, let's say, not exactly rosy. NEO took over a minute just to take a water bottle out of the fridge. Loading 3 cups and a few plates into the dishwasher took 5 minutes. Folding a single sweater, 2 minutes. And the movements were slow and erratic. If you've tried any of the AI-powered browsers out there, I tested ChatGPT's operator, found it lacking, and I've been using Perplexity's Comet, but sometimes I watch it spend 5 minutes on something I do in 10 seconds. You already know where this is going. If that's where we are in software, expecting much more from a physical robot next year is probably optimistic. More importantly, to perform many of these tasks right now, NEO sometimes needs a remote human operator to take control. You heard that right. A $20,000 robot cannot yet operate fully autonomously. It's teleoperated. To the company's credit, CEO Bernd Bernick has been upfront about this. Unlike certain other robotics companies that left audiences guessing whether their demos were autonomous or remote controlled. Cough, Optimus. 1X is being straightforward from the start. Anyone receiving this robot in 2026 should expect that human operators will be controlling it remotely from time to time. Why? Because the AI model hasn't gathered enough real-world data yet. NEO needs to learn by working in your home. So when you say, load the laundry, and consent to it, a remote operator puts on a VR headset, sees your home through NEO's cameras, performs the task, yes, sorts through your laundry. And the system learns from it. There's no other way around this, it seems. For AI to reach where it is today in language, the internet had to fill up with text. Only once that vast knowledge base existed could large language models emerge. AI read and absorbed everything on the internet. But what's not on the internet? The physical knowledge of the real world. Atoms and photons, not bits and bytes. Some companies are literally hiring people to teach robots how to fold laundry. Tesla is working on an FSD-like system for Optimus. 1X's approach is the teleoperator model. Their new Redwood AI model is essentially NEO's generalist brain. Humans demonstrate tasks first. An operator sees through the robot's eyes, moves its limbs, and every action gets converted into data. Redwood absorbs this and generalizes. For this goal, follow this sequence. When it encounters a task for the first time, it's slow and may get stuck. That's when expert mode kicks in. The human operator seamlessly takes over and guides the correct movement. It's a labor-intensive teach and learn loop. But the payoff for the company is significant. Every lesson makes NEO smarter not just now, but in future similar situations. Safety guardrails are built in too. It pauses at risky movements, asks for confirmation, hands control back to humans when needed. Redwood isn't an all-knowing AI. It's a well-trained student that safely generalizes what it's been taught. And how fast it learns in your home depends on how well and how consistently you teach it. If you want it to offer cologne to your guests, you'll have to train it first. Now you might think, who has time for that? You might not. But early adopters, people who are wired to embrace new things, who will happily pay to beta test, some of them absolutely will. What worries me most, honestly, is privacy. Think about it. There's a robot in your home. It has cameras, it has microphones, and a human operator seeing your kitchen, your living room, maybe your bedroom through those cameras. That's uncomfortable. At least until you forget about it. Just like we've forgotten about all the other always-on devices already in our homes. The company acknowledges this and says they've taken precautions. Face blurring, restricted zones, scheduled access. You can control through the app when an operator can intervene, but the risk remains. Research published in the journal Expert Systems shows that humanoid robots can genuinely deceive people, not maliciously, but through design. People feel empathy toward these robots. They trust them. They share sensitive information with them. Data protection and privacy have already become critical ethical issues in robotics. And then there are cybersecurity threats. These robots can connect to IoT systems. They could control your door locks, for instance. What if an attacker gained access to the robot? Took control of the devices in your home? These questions don't have good answers yet. Standards are lacking. Regulation is barely even being discussed. But as always, startups are racing ahead. In the US especially, finding investors for ideas like this isn't difficult. I looked at Morgan Stanley's projections. They're staggering. By 2050, they estimate 1 billion humanoid robots will be operating worldwide. Market size? $5 trillion. Twice the size of the automotive industry. 90% of those, around 930 million, will be in industrial and commercial settings. Factories, warehouses, logistics centers. Only about 80 million will be in homes. In the US alone, roughly 10% of households, about 15 million homes, could own a humanoid robot. But China is set to lead. By 2050, it's projected to have 302 million robots, the largest robot population in the world. The Chinese government is pouring massive support into embodied AI. So this isn't just a tech race, it's a geopolitical one. Whoever dominates this market will control the future of labor economics. And what about people? Another Morgan Stanley report is even more striking. By 2040, they expect 8 million humanoid robots to be on the job in America. Over the next 15 years, these robots will create a wage displacement impact of $357 billion. 70% of construction jobs and 67% of agricultural and forestry jobs are considered at risk. As someone who grew up watching the Jetsons, I'm still trying to keep that childlike sense of wonder alive. When I see the glossy marketing videos these startups produce, I still get excited. But right now, paying $20,000 for a robot that unloads your dishwasher feels like being just a little too early to the party. And the thought of a stranger sorting through my laundry from halfway across the world doesn't exactly put my mind at ease. But then I think of something Thomas Edison said in an 1880 interview. We will make electricity so cheap that only the rich will burn candles. Imagine how hard that must have been to believe. At a time when, even in France, considered the pinnacle of civilization, women were still washing clothes in communal, outdoor stone basins called lavoirs, probably finding it just as exhausting as Jane Jetson did. Their grandest dream was likely, what if I had my own lavoir at home, like the wealthy? Because the wealthy did, private lavoirs in their chateau. I know this because lately I've been watching a show about a family renovating a French chateau, and they turned the old private lavoir into a swimming pool. 150 years ago, people could not even imagine a washing machine because electricity, the infrastructure for it, did not exist yet. We're now in a period where a new kind of infrastructure is being built, an intelligence infrastructure. That is why it is still a little hard to picture a robot in every home. But maybe one day they will become so affordable and widespread that imagining life without them will be the strange thing. And if you ask me what we will be doing when that day comes, I like to think it will go something like this. While the robot does the laundry, I will be out back at the chateau, turning my old lavoir into a spa, lighting some scented candles, and then sitting down to watch the Jetsons.